Hi, my name is Kevin Kleinman, head trader at Watchhimtrade.com. This is going to be a lesson in which I go over the importance of not being stubborn when it comes to your trading. Tonight's date is July 30th. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So what you're looking at on my screen right now is a video that I'm going to play of my trading day yesterday from trading Priceline stock, trading the options on Priceline. So the date that these trades were made that you're going to see was on July 29th. And going into yesterday, Priceline looked good to me for some upside. The price had closed around 1240 the previous day, which was on Monday, the 28th, and so on the 29th, I had the thesis that, hey, if Priceline stays above 1240, it's going to go into the 1250s. And as long as I believe that it's going to break out above 1250, I have reasoning to make a trade on calls. So that was my thought process pre-market when I was looking at the stock. And once it opened up, as I'm going to show you, it started rallying a little bit, tested 1245. So I'm going to click play here, and what you're going to see is I'm going to make an entry on these 1270 calls here. Right here. Alright, so you can see you opened up right around 1243, 1244, and you were testing 1245 right off the bat. So when I'm seeing this move, I'm kind of being aggressive in my head. I think Priceline is going to make a good move, and you can see right there I purchase a position on Priceline. I'm aggressive because, again, as long as it looks like it's going to break out above 1250, I want to be in calls. That's the whole point of this trade. So I make the aggressive purchase on the Priceline 1270 calls at $2.20 based on this apparent 1245 breakout. And my strategy is just to stay long as Priceline is able to stay around 1245, because to me, as long as you're staying around 1245, then you're going up to 1250. So if you start backing away from 1245, I want to think about stopping out. So I'm going to fast forward in this footage a little bit. About 7 minutes later, during this time the stock had just kind of been churning around 1245, not doing anything major. Alright, so you can see right now this is at 9:38, 8 minutes into the day. There is a nice bid stack at 1245. High a day is 1247. We're basically testing this high a day here. So Priceline looks pretty good to me. And that's what I had been observing. But as you're about to see, these 1245 bids get whacked out. So right here, once this happens, I've got to kind of be on my toes, because my whole point of the trade is it has to stay around 1245. So you see now, just 30 seconds later, we whacked out those 1245 bids. Now we have bidders at 1244, but if they start getting whacked out, I've really got to be on my toes and maybe consider stopping out. The other thing I want to point out that is unique to Priceline is look at the spread on the option I'm trading. The current bid at this time is $2, and the current ask is $2.50. So there is literally a 20% spread on Priceline right now. In other words, if you don't manage your Priceline options properly, the spread will destroy you, because if you buy in at the ask and are forced to sell at the bid, you are guaranteed a 20% loss. And if that bid drops a bit more, you can have a 20% loss turn into a 30-40% loss very quickly. So with Priceline in particular, I'm always on my toes when it comes to stopping out. So I'll play it a little bit more. We'll just observe some action here. And right now I'm wanting the bids to come back above 1245. You can see we're starting to get some asks below 1245. And that's making me a little bit nervous. I've lowered my sell order to 195. It's not in yet, but I'm ready to put it in because, again, look, 185 by 240. We've got a 20% spread right now on my position. So if this thing's going to whack out these 1243s, it's not going to be pretty. So I'm prepared to sell. If it doesn't firm back up, start getting 1245s, then to me, I'm going to stop out. So at this point, I'm still in because, yeah, there's not bids above 1245, but there's not asks below 1245 either. So it's still kind of okay. I'm definitely nervous here, on my toes, but it's like, all right, if I can just get a couple bids back, I'll be fine. Still staying with it. My thought process, though, is kind of, all right, let's get these bids back up. Let's get these bids back up. You can see my spread, 190 by 225. And that's considered a close spread on Priceline, believe it or not. So even at that, you've got a 15% spread. So now you're getting an ask at 1245. If they start stacking below 1245 and whacking out some of these 1244 bids, I'm really going to have to think about stopping out because, I made what I would refer to as an aggressive buy. So I need to make an aggressive exit if it doesn't look like it's sustaining this 1245 breakout. That's what's going through my head here as I'm in this trade. All right, we got some bidders, 1244.40. Let's see, can they come back up, take out these 1245s again? That's what will make me feel good. That's what will calm the nerves a little bit. Not getting any further upticks, though, and that one bid got whacked out. Now we've got an ask below 1245. Printing lower, getting some stacking below 1245. All right, so I'm about to stop out right here. You can see I've got the sell order up, and I did just stop out on Priceline. All right, so I'm just going to show that again. You can see that you've got these bids, but these 1244 bids get whacked. I pull up my sell right then, exit. All right, as soon as I exit, you can see the loss reflected here down in my P&L. I'm not going to mess around, bottom line, because if you start whacking out 1243s, there's no chance that I exit at 190. All these bids here you see at 180, 185, those are fake. Those are probably going to go down to the 170s, 160. My 13% loss that I took is going to turn into a 30% loss if I'm lucky, right? So I'm really satisfied with how I managed that trade. I say to my subscribers a lot, a good trade doesn't mean you made money. I lost money on that trade, but I still call it a good trade because I put myself in a position I believed in, and it just didn't work out. Backed away from 1245 more so than I wanted to see it do, so I'm going to get out. I'll watch from the sidelines. Now, here is the tricky part and the meat of this lesson. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. So this is only about 2 minutes later from the time of my exit at 9:43 now. I exited at 9:41. I took that 13% loss. Now, here we are at 9:43. And you can see Priceline has regained 1245 on the bid. It has the asks back up in the 1246s. So now we're back only $1 off of the high. And that position I just sold at $1.90, you can see now the spread is 205 by 245. It's back at my break-even line. But again, I don't mind that much because I felt that I handled the trade properly. It's just one of those things that happens. So once it regains 1245 and once this position comes back to break even and I'm seeing that, all right, maybe it's still going to do that 1250 breakout, what you thought. At that moment, when I see this, I have a decision. A couple of them actually. I can either A, kick myself and be pissed off that I'm not in the stock when it was able to regain 1245, or B, I can figure out a way to get back in if I still believe that ultimately it is going higher. So I'm going to click play again here and let's see what I do. Let's see how I handle this adversity here. This is called trade adversity. All of us have trade adversity, whether you realize it or not. You have it a lot. You might not know that's what it's called. I'm telling you that's what it's called. You have to learn how to deal with it, and you have to learn the proper way to handle it. So Priceline regains 1245 here on the bids. Now I'm just watching, okay, so at this point I'm thinking, if this thing starts running, I probably want to get back in. Up, here we go, taking out high a day. Look at my position, guys. 235 by 265. This thing's starting to run. Right away I start adjusting the limit price here because I realized that, you know what, this thing looks like it's breaking 1250, so I should probably figure out a way to get back in. Now, here's some critique of myself. This is what I can do better. Right here, while I seem to be preparing to get back in, I'm watching it. How come I haven't started to adjust my limit price already? That's a problem. I should have made that adjustment right away. As soon as that 1247 breakout happened and it made that new high and started running, I need to pick up the pace and start adjusting. Now you will see me make an adjustment here, but again, I could have done it earlier. So now you're testing 1250. That was the key level. At this point, I really have conviction that it's for sure going higher here, most likely. I'm just trying to think in my head, all right, what do you want to do? You want to chase this 1250 breakout, or do you want to see if it breaks 1250 first? Or do you want to see if it pulls back to 1245? I take the approach to wait and see if it breaks 1250 first, and then I'll buy a pullback after 1250 breaks. You know, hopefully it'll go above 1250, maybe go 1252, 1253, and then pull back down to 1250, 1249 or so. So I'm getting my order ready finally, which is good, but again, too late. Should have reacted earlier, but that's okay. So we broke 1250, so I'm seeing that 1250 breakout. So this is where I'll put in the order, because at this point I have conviction. I saw the 1250 breakout. That was the main thing I touched on pre-market. So I placed my order at $3. Again, you can see the spread is $3 by 350 as Priceline's breaking 1250. So I'm thinking, all right, if it comes back below 1250, I should fill. If it doesn't come back below 1250, shame on me. But here's what I want to point out. I'm buying at $3. I just sold this position at $1.90. All right, that's 57% lower. So theoretically, if I just would have held, I could have made a very nice profit here. This is where we go wrong as traders. We're too stubborn to buy back in 40, 50% higher. Because quite frankly, we're sour. We're mad. We're mad at the market or something. We're mad at somebody when really we're probably just mad at ourselves. But you know what? The best way to forgive yourself is to move on. Make a good trade. Figure out, all right, yeah, you know what? That kind of sucks. But it only sucks if I let it suck. If I adjust right away and I screw my stubbornness, I swallow my pride, and I get back in, I'll have more pride by making a good trade. This is the lesson here. Don't let the fact that the stock is now up, or the option is now up 30% or 40%, 50%, don't let that keep you out. If you think there is still meaningful upside. Emphasis on the if, because don't confuse what I'm saying. I'm not saying there will be instances where you sell something and then it goes up 30% and you should not buy. Those instances will occur because sometimes the stock will get to your target and it just doesn't seem like there's any more left. But in this instance, 1250 breakout was the trigger for the upside. So when you break 1250, I'm thinking 1255 to 1260 at least. So this is one of those situations where I don't want to let stubbornness get in the way, because even though I just missed a 30-40% gain, the bottom line is I believe it's going to 1255. There's still 5 points of upside here. These options are still going to move nicely if I'm correct. So Kev, don't be stubborn. Get in, make a good trade. Forget about that small loss you just took, because you're going to have an even bigger win if you just execute properly. Alright, so I hit play again. So you're getting 1251s. I've got my open bid at $3. You can see here. It's printing 1252s or so. Nice volume spike. You can see highest volume of the day with a nice candle. Alright, so now we start pulling back. This is what I want. I want to buy in on this pullback. I saw the 1250 breakout. I feel it's legit. I have good conviction now. Don't be stubborn. Leave that bid in there. See if you get filled here on this dip. I prepare another order. I really like that preparation because I want to fill, because I have high confidence at this point because I saw what the stock did. So I've got a bid at $3 and then I have a bid at $2.70 as well that I just placed. And again, this is because my main criteria was the 1250 breakout. Before, I was being more conservative because 1245, I wasn't above 1250 yet. But now, it showed me that 1250 breakout. It showed me that main criteria. Alright, so I filled that position. You can see it's here on the level 2 as it's testing 1247, 1248, which was the first high a day resistance area that you saw from the open. So it makes sense that, hey, if it can have some support here, this is still really good. I'm going to pause it for a second because my first position was only one contract. Here, I'm trying to buy 2 contracts. I'm trying to buy 2 contracts because, number one, I have greater conviction at this point. Number 2, having more size with more conviction will lead to greater gains to overcome that loss that I took. There are 2 main reasons there. Now, with the stop out on this, it's going to be the action relative to 1250-ish, 1249 as it was relative to 1245. So again, I feel, okay, if I fill this 270 bid, I've got a 285 average, and as long as I can stop out at 250, I'm looking at a 12% loss. And I do feel that I'll be able to stop out at 250 if we start breaking down at 1247. So in my head, and I'm taking notes during all this, that, all right, worst case scenario, you end up with another loss. You're wrong here. You got baited into some whippy price action. You'll have a 12% loss and a 13% loss, and, you know, whatever. Move on. So here we go. Testing 1247s. I've got that bid at 270. It's not filling though, so I raise it up to 275, I believe, right here, or maybe 280 in a second. I believe you'll see me raise it because I want in. You know, my gut at this point is telling me to buy into the position. I've got really good feeling about the direction price line showing because, again, pre-market, I was eyeing this one. Alright, so you're coming back up towards 1250, so I raise my bid to 285. I really like my aggressiveness here. I'm not filling that 285 bid, so I believe I'm going to raise it again to 290 or 295. And again, guys, notice the spread, 290 by 330, 15% spread in here. Now I finally raise it to 310 because you've regained 1250. Once this happens, once you're back at 1250, it's like green light. Here we are, 1250. This is what you said it needed to do. As long as it stays around 1250, this is good. Compare this 1250 action to that 1245 action. Remember, it came below 1245, but it couldn't get prints back above that 1245. Here it comes below 1250, but now we're getting prints above 1250. And check out what's about to happen on the bid side right here. You're getting bidders coming back up 1249. You aren't getting any asks below 1250 like you were below 1245. Getting some bid upticks in these 1249s. I've still got this open bid at 310 because I want more, because I want to make a trade I really believe in. I end up filling that bid at 310. Now we've got a bidder above 1250, so this is looking great. Now we're starting to run, okay? Testing high a day. I put in a sell order for one at $4.10. You can see that right here. Of my two contracts, I've got two contracts at $3.05 average. You can see my open profit and loss. I sold one at 410. It just went through. You can see it's adjusted on my closed P&L. I've gone from a loss to a profit on the day. Now I try to sell the other one at $5. A couple trades go through. Unfortunately, mine does not. I end up selling it at $4 on a pullback. But all in all, when it's all said and done, you look down here and I have $240 in profit. I made a lot of different flips and a lot of different trades after this move. You can see Priceline ended up giving some up-down action, and there was a decent little 6-7 point move that it made. So point is, of course it sucks to sell something and see it go up after you sell. You know what sucks even more? To sell something, see it go up after you sell, have a chance to get back in and not take it. That really sucks. So don't do it. Don't be stubborn. Swallow your pride. Be objective. Rationalize the trade. You have to be able to rationalize the trade. Again, I was comfortable getting back in because 1250 was my upside point. Now, if I ignored it at 1250 and then it was at 1260, I don't want to buy at 1260 because that was my target, right? So that would have been a different scenario. The key, though, is not thinking about what just happened and instead thinking about the next trade. Don't think about, and I used to do this all the time 1-2 years ago, make a trade, get out at a small loss, and it goes up more. Or make a trade, get out at a small profit, and it goes up more. And I would say out loud, God damn it, or that sucks, man, or man, fuck you, market. You know, like something like that. And it's just like, when you say stuff like that, it puts little subconscious thoughts in your mind that are stacking the odds against you. And you don't want to do that. When I was in that scenario, you could ask my subscribers, I didn't say anything about the trade. They probably all knew that it sucked. They probably all knew that I would have wished to have been in it. But I adjusted, I moved on, I found a good trade, and I made it. And at the end of the day, my profits far outweighed that small loss that I had to start. So next time you catch yourself being stubborn, take a look at the stock you're trading and be objective and truly analyze, is there more here? Do I need to swallow my pride because is there going to be another move that I'm going to miss out on if I am stubborn? Or do I have a chance where if I just don't get stubborn, can I make a really good trade here and all of a sudden go and be in a good mood? Remember, you are in control of your actions. You are in control of your actions. So if you're in a bad mood because the stock just got away from you, the best way to go into a good mood is to make a good trade. Remember that, guys. Watchhimtrade.com is where you need to go if you want to see these types of lessons put to work in real time like I just showed you and get a whole lot more insight. Have a 5-day trial available for only $5. Strongly suggest you check it out. Thank you for your time. I'll see you next week.